What is up, my high testosterone men? In this video, I'm going to show you how to increase your testosterone naturally. This is a full guide on how I went from the skinny kid on the left to the big beefy man on the right. On the left, I had ED, no energy or drive for life. I had a hard time putting on muscle, and I wasn't masculinized, and it was really embarrassing. And even at the age of 20, I still had those same issues. So I took it into my own hands to fix my delayed puberty, fix my testosterone naturally, and over the course of about 2.5 years, I put on 50 pounds of muscle, which seems insane, but I did it naturally. And it's because I figured out how to optimize my life to have higher testosterone. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how that works. So first and foremost, though, you do need to understand that your male body wants to make more testosterone. You're not stuck being a low testosterone dude, and it's not hopeless. Some people have been dealing with low testosterone for years on end, wondering why they can't change. And in order to do so, you need to understand that your body wants to make lots of testosterone, because making more testosterone makes you more successful as an organism. It makes you stronger. The more successful you are as an organism, the higher testosterone. Right? The more effort you put out, the more competition you engage in, your body has to respond and make more testosterone to get better at those things. And so having high testosterone is just really, it's honestly your natural state. And testosterone levels used to be twice what they are now for young men. This is how we're designed, to have high testosterone when we're young, so that we can be successful and thrive in the areas of survival and replication. But it's more of an abundance hormone. When you optimize for it, the quality of your life will skyrocket, because this is the hormone that makes you a man. Now, why does it matter? Well, your body wants to produce testosterone because it fuels the two things, like I said, that your body needs to do, which is survive and replicate. And it's also spiritually what you're craving to, but it follows the things you follow spiritually. So it makes you bigger, faster, stronger, so you can fight, hunt, build, and protect more effectively. You can explore the world better when you have lots of energy and you have the physicality to back it up. It makes you much more attractive to women. So higher testosterone men are more attractive to women. Women are hypergamous. They like masculine men. It makes them feel very safe and secure, and flips the attraction switch in their mind when they're around a high testosterone masculine man. I wish it. Actually, I don't wish it were different. This is just how it is. If you have higher testosterone, you're going to have more pheromones produced that make you attracted to women. Because if you are healthy as a man and you have high testosterone, there are going to be certain pheromonal signals that girls pick up on that make them more attracted to you, just naturally. It also increases your libido, increases your life force energy. So your sexual energy is the energy with which you tackle life. And if your testosterone is low, you're not going to have a lot of that energy. And so that's why, you might struggle with women. You would struggle in getting up and doing things every day. It could just be low testosterone. So it also sharpens your drive, your focus, and your ability to see in everyday life because of that sexual life force energy. The more of it you have, the more you're going to be able to tackle life. The better you're going to be at accomplishing things. But here's the key. It has to be produced naturally. You don't get all the downstream benefits from injections. You don't have those changes to your life with injections. Natural testosterone unlocks the full package. There's many processes that go into place when you produce testosterone naturally, which if you are trying to cheat by injecting hormones, you're missing out on a lot of the benefits of. And oftentimes you're going to be dealing with a lot of side effects which don't yield you the same results. And even for the guys who just want to put on muscle, in order to have all the benefits of taking TRT or exogenous testosterone, you need to have all the things you would do as a natural athlete or to optimize your testosterone naturally in place in order to reap the most rewards from that exogenous testosterone. So for the people who think that you can just inject testosterone and have the same results as someone who does all the right stuff naturally, you're wrong. Now, there's 3 parts to increasing your testosterone naturally. The high testosterone life. In fact, it all starts in your mind, right? The actions you take that you probably know you should be taking are, and the actions you shouldn't be taking are a part of your lifestyle, right? So your diet, your sleep, your training, your time in nature, in the sun, uh, having a fulfilling career, these types of things are what is what you need to be doing. But there needs to be a mindset in place in order to allow you to do those things. Without the right programming, you will not take the right action. And then the third part of this is environment. So your environment really just facilitates you taking those actions and becoming the person that you want to be much more easily. So that's why we go into environment creation. And then we also talk about like removing endocrine disrupting chemicals and other things that directly impact your testosterone. But we're talking about creating an environment that's more conducive to you being the person that you want to be, surrounding yourself with the information that's important for you to hit your goals. Now, we're going to talk about mindset first. So I'll be honest with you. I wrote everything out in a doc, and then I gave it to ChatGPT to organize, and it kind of messed it up. So it doesn't have everything I wrote in here. So there's some stuff for you to look at. Like I didn't defer to ChatGPT or anything. I just like gave it my information. It was like, can you please like make bullet points out of all this stuff? And it like, I say this, it deleted some stuff, but everything begins with your mindset. Consciousness creates reality. Your thoughts, your focus, your intent, these all shape who you become, right? What you think about every single day matters. It matters so much. You need to be thinking about your goals constantly. And in order to know what to focus on, you have to have a vision for your life, for like everything you do want, the man you want to be, a vision for yourself, a vision for your life, the type of work you want to do, the type of man you want to be, how you want to feel when you walk in a room, how you want to feel about yourself. You have to write all this out. And then you also need an anti-vision. So this is everything that you don't want to be, right? So you need to write out like the worst possible life for yourself and the best possible life for yourself. And every day, make your decisions through the lens of those two actions. For me, like a basic one would have just been having like a really bad job, working at McDonald's or whatever, and then being fat and sleeping on in my parents' basement, playing video games all day. That's like an anti-vision for me. My highest vision is serving God, to the best of my ability, becoming all that I can be and fulfilling my potential, having an amazing family. And so like I want to be in a great fulfilling career that aligns with my purpose with God. I want to be in I want to have an amazing body because I think that like health is the most important thing in the world, and if you don't have health, you don't have anything. So I have a structure of what I want and what I don't want, and every day I get to decide which kind of man I want to be. I mean, technically these things are already, pre-decided, and at some point you just have to like keep doing the things to get you to where you want to be. But you need to have like the vision for where you're going and why you're doing the things you do. It like at the top of mind, right? Everybody likes to talk about enjoying the thing you do and loving what you do, but that's not holistic enough. Like you should love everything in your life. If you're just, playing chess because you love to do it and that's your entire life, you are going to have gaping holes as a person that you can't fill with more chess, if that makes sense. So, and maybe chess is, in this example, allows you to, have a career, social circle, girlfriend, and maybe you do workouts for chess. But as a man, like as a high testosterone man, if you want to be a more masculine man, you need to have certain things in place in order to have that going for you. Now, what are the mindsets and rules that we need to keep in mind when it comes to creating our vision, to having a high testosterone mindset? This comes down to discipline. These are your inner rules, your conscience, and your vision for yourself, and being disciplined in that, guiding you over, externals. It's the inner must rule the outer, and in fact, the inner creates the outer world. And if you are always giving in to whatever momentary pleasure or opportunity passes you by, then you will never actually become the person you want to be. There's always going to be something eager to grab your attention, right? There's always going to be some girl, there's always going to be some, party, there's always going to be some quote unquote biz op, but really you need your purpose and your vision to basically allow you to block out all of that noise, right? I'm not saying that you should like renounce women or anything. I'm saying like if you want a woman, like pick a good one, become a man who can pick a good one, and don't waste time with anyone you wouldn't marry, because that just hurts you in the long term. And now this is another principle of the high testosterone mindset is you need to be taking long-term actions over short-term actions in every area of your life. If something doesn't have progress or compounding available in a positive way, it probably has compounding or regression, and that's negative. And when you choose short-term gratification and negative compounding, it's up at the opportunity cost of delayed gratification, positive compounding. So what that means is that if you spend 5 years messing around with a bunch of women, that is 5 years that could have been spent looking for your wife or building a relationship with your wife that you'll never get back. It often actually sets you back so that you can't have, or you have a harder time finding the wife you want. So long term over short term, compounding, progress and sacrifice. Focus on your daily progress towards all your goals. This is going to make sure that you do not slip into oblivion. The reason people aren't happy with their lives tends to be because they don't have any progress or anything to show for all the time that they've spent. And so they dull their pain with, they try and numb their pain because either they have no purpose or they have nothing to show for their lives improving over time. And that really gives life a lot of meaning, right? There's your purpose and then your progress. And knowing that the work you put in, the effort you put in counted for something, that your life counted for something, and you can see that progressing day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, is so fulfilling. And there aren't that many things. I mean, there are lots of things that do that, but there's some core things like career, relationships, health, knowledge, peace, and your relationship with God. These types of things are essentials. And whether or not you realize that there are short-term options and long-term options for everything you do in life, right? There's the option to have short-term relationships where this isn't going to go anywhere, or it's not conducive to you have it living closer to your purpose or in alignment with your purpose. And there are relationships that do, and you could see yourself spending a lot of time with this person. They have a similar purpose or similar values to you, and so you could invest with that person and get compounding in that relationship long term. But you don't want to just keep investing in fleeting relationships, fleeting girlfriends, etc., because that really wastes your time. And you think about it, it takes away from what you could be and the people who would be there with you for a long time. And that goes for anything. Like if you're on like a short-term diet, short-term workout plan, and it's not really focused on long-term forward progress and compounding, it's a waste of time. And then self-belief. So you need to believe in yourself, but more so than you just need to believe. You need to believe that what you can do is possible. And the way I found like I was able to accomplish something so fast is because I focused on like the high ROI 80-20 inputs on each thing and just over invested in all of those. But I also just believe that what you have to do to get to where you want to go has nothing to do with who you are, and it has nothing to do with your past, right? And most people identify with their past, and as I've gotten older, I realized that it does have something to do with who you are, but it has to do with your spiritual qualities, and that you are not your past. You are the person that you decide to be. So this is more like, if you are disciplined and determined and focused, and you put in a lot of effort over a long period of time, and you delay gratification, and you work hard and intelligently with leverage, you will make outstanding strides in becoming the man that you want to be. And those are qualities that you can have as a person, but that has nothing to do with your past or where you come from, right? I don't identify with coming from the home that I came from or the city I came from. I mean, I love the city I came from. Some of the people I grew up with, but that's not me. I am who I am. And so that brings me to determination, effort, willpower. Work on these spiritual qualities every single day. Understand that every single victory you have over yourself, every single time you take an action towards your goals, you are becoming stronger and you can increase your determination. Determination, willpower, discipline are all muscles that you train. And every time you are successful and you deny yourself pleasures or excuses, you become stronger. And those things compound over time too. So it'll hurt at first, but do it and you won't recognize yourself in a few years. Now, competition is also very important. You need to be, this is part of the lifestyle too, but having a competitive mindset, always trying to like one up yourself, even one up your friends, is pretty crucial for the high testosterone man lifestyle and mindset. There's nothing wrong with competition. There's a lot of resistance around that nowadays, but it's very natural for men to always like want to one up each other, want to one up themselves, always want to do better. Be competitive. It's so fulfilling and it drives up testosterone like very few other things. So always strive to win. Put in a lot of effort. These are critical mindsets for the high testosterone mindset. Now, the second one is going to be lifestyle. The second one is going to be lifestyle. I've been talking for a while now. I made this video yesterday, but the audio didn't sync, so I had to switch recording softwares. So, number 2 is going to be lifestyle. This includes training, sleep, nutrition, sunlight and grounding, and your life purpose, a fulfilling career that you can be competitive with. So, we'll start off with training. So, you need to do the 2 things that everybody needs to be pretty healthy, and that increase your testosterone. So that is resistance training and cardio. You need to be overcoming heavier and heavier forces every single week and take on challenges in the gym. So I like heavy compound lifts, and you need progressive overload no matter what lift you're doing in order to see changes, right? You need to increase the challenge in order to increase the size of the muscle, in order to increase your strength. And trust yourself to rise to the occasion when the new weights arrive every week. This doesn't mean you go crazy and add 100 pounds per week. It means, every single week you be diligent, you show up and you add 5 pounds to your lifts, and over a year or 2, like you're a whole different person. And then cardio. So cardio is one of the most important things for your health, for your testosterone, and for your life. Cardio improves everything. Blood flow, cardiovascular health, recovery, yada, yada, yada. But your aerobic system underpins everything else. And without it, you won't have good health or high testosterone. So do cardio, even if it's just like 30 minutes a day, that will work wonders on your health. But I recommend getting up to 40 minutes a day. And yes, things like walks are great for losing weight, and they do incorporate activity for you. They do not compare to actually getting your heart rate up and doing cardio like running or swimming or playing a sport. So this is where competition comes into play. So you need to be playing a sport of some kind where you're getting physical, you're using your mind, and you have to be more coordinated and take on challenges. So things like martial arts, a field sport are great source for this. Like racing or fighting or games all work wonders. But I recommend all men learn how to fight. So if you practice a martial art, that's an amazing start. I'd recommend some kind of grappling, less risk of a concussion. So give it a shot. All right, my computer was about to die, so I brought it inside, plugged it in. We're going to continue the video inside and finish it in here. But we're going to resume with sleep. Now, when it comes to sleep, sleep is one of those ones that you need to have in place in order to have high testosterone, because that's when a lot of the signaling to produce testosterone occurs. It's a lot when most of your testosterone is produced. So if you don't have your sleep dialed in, this doesn't mean you have to be extremely neurotic about it, but it does mean you have to be disciplined and go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Missing a bedtime every once in a while is not a problem, but that shouldn't be the norm. It should be once in a blue moon. Your bedtime is something you're disciplined with. Just like work, just like training, just like eating right. Go to bed at the same time. Make the decision and stick to it. You want this because it helps you have a more intact circadian rhythm. What that is your body's internal biological clock that runs on a 24-hour schedule. If you have it's going to improve every aspect of your life. It's not just going to help you, be healthier and have higher testosterone. You're going to have an easier time falling asleep. You're going to have an easier time waking up. You're going to have more energy when you wake up because your body and your mind are used to waking up at the same time. So in order to optimize this, wind down for like half an hour to an hour before bed, and then sit and then make your room cold, dark, and quiet. If you can see the curtains behind me, these are blackout curtains. Absolutely no light gets in the room when I am sleeping. So it's very optimal for sleeping. So now let's go into the next slide, which is nutrition. So if you have a poor diet with lots of junk food, lots of artificial flavors, and just lots of junk, Doritos, cookies, Oreos, all these different foods actually interfere with signaling that allows you to produce testosterone. So it's very, very crucial that you have a clean diet. And it's not only crucial that you have a clean diet, but you have a micronutrient dense diet. And you eat foods that are specific to you increasing testosterone. But these foods that help you increase testosterone are also just good for your overall health, increase your metabolism, and increase energy flow in your body. So some of the best ones are going to be red meat, dairy, eggs, and oysters, especially red meat, eggs, and oysters. Red meat, wonderful for testosterone. Eggs, tons of cholesterol, so excellent for testosterone since that's what your body converts into testosterone. And oysters have plenty of zinc, which plays a role in the Leydig cells producing testosterone. Then we get into fruits and veggies. There are a lot of water-soluble micronutrients in fruits and veggies that you need for optimal health. And the more optimal your health is, the higher testosterone. I tend to be biased towards high water, high vitamin C fruits, which are wonderful for you. I drink about a liter of orange juice a day, sometimes just in a workout, and then have plenty of rice, potatoes, very clean, slow digesting carbohydrate sources. The rice obviously digests faster, but potatoes digest very slowly and will actually even make you leaner. There's been people who switch all their carb sources over to potatoes and get leaner as a result of it. Your insulin sensitivity changes. But then we get into sunlight and grounding. Sunlight boosts your vitamin D and your metabolism. Pretty much everything in your body is influenced by light. And so when you are getting sunlight on your skin every day, you're just going to be a healthier individual. And there are even times during the day where you should have sun on your skin, like right when you wake up or right when the sun gets up, right when the sun rises, you should be getting that, those wavelengths of light in your eyes because it tells your body to wake up. And then right when the sun sets, you should be looking at the sunset, tells your body to go to bed. It'll have a huge impact on your circadian rhythm. And then for just sun exposure, make sure that you're close to light all day. You don't always have to have direct sunlight exposure, but be close to windows, be outside, and the information from the light makes a huge difference in your health. And then grounding. So touch the earth, breathe fresh air, lower stress, get into nature. If that just means going for a walk through a park with lots of trees in it every day, then that's all you need. Hug a tree if you need to. But if you get your feet in the soil, you're going to have electron flow between you and the earth, and that is going to work wonders for inflammation and some other things, which sounds a little esoteric, but it's a very high ROI thing that most people just leave on the table, and you're literally just putting your feet in some dirt. If you do that when you wake up every morning and you spend 10 minutes outside looking at the sunrise, you will have a much better day. Now, life purpose is going to be the other part of the lifestyle. So live life on your own terms, run your own business, or have a self-made career. Do work that energizes you instead of drains you. I know dudes who make 80K a month, 60 to 80K a month in sales, and they've just lost their spark for life because even though they're making really, really good money, really, really good money for, just like an average individual, they hate the work they do. I've heard of other people who, make $1 million a year working for a company, but inside they're dead, and because all they do is work and they're a slave to the company, they don't have time for anything they want to do anymore. And so when you find your life purpose, you have a career that you have built specific knowledge in, and you build a reputation in, then you really get the best of both worlds in terms of finances, because if you become really good at solving problems, people will want to pay you to solve problems for them. And then if it's something you really like to do and interests you and energizes you, that has a profound impact on your health. So I'm not saying that's like that, saying that it's the easiest thing to do. Everything else on the list is pretty easy to implement. This is a big rock that not a lot of people realize is there. And so that this is a multi-year process, but it's worth it. And I could go more into that another time. But now we're getting into environment. So these the last step, but it's certainly not the least important one. They're all very important. So environment, or the environment you find yourself in. Here, I can highlight this and make it a little bit like bigger. But environment is so crucial for you hitting your goals. Now, there is blaming your environment for where you're at, and then there is understanding that your environment plays a big role in sometimes the opportunities you're afforded, sometimes the information you're exposed to, which has an influence on where your mind's at. So I'm going to go over information refreshment, goal-oriented setup, and endocrine disruption. So the first one is information refreshment. So you want to flood your mind with information that reinforces your goals. If you want to be jacked, have posters of Arnold, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, all these people with crazy physiques, put them in your room, think about them often, so that it motivates you to take the actions that it takes to get to where you want to go. And you're always thinking about it. You don't want to you want to surround yourself with information that is conducive to you hitting your goals. So it helps you think about it more. It's going to be more top of mind, so you're going to want to do it more. Then read books on training, nutrition, wealth, discipline. Nowadays, read podcasts, watch YouTube videos from people who have the results you want, who have the physiques you want. Listen to videos. This goes for anything. It's not just physiques. It's also money. It's also women. And then you want to curate your social media. This is a hack of the 21st century that you can use to basically do whatever you want, which is filling your mind with the information and the signals that go into you getting to where you want to go. Like I used to watch Clarence Kennedy all the time. Liu Jiajun, Dmitry Klokov. I used to watch those videos all the time while I was building muscle at such a rapid rate because I wanted to do it and I love watching those videos. So if you can get in the mood for it and make yourself excited about it, and it's always top of mind because you watch those videos, it's a hack that everybody overlooks. And then we have removing weak symbols, negative people, and distractions from your life that interfere with you hitting your goals. So this doesn't mean you cut out, the people who make a difference in your life, your friends, or even things you enjoy. This means that you remove things that directly get in the way of you doing what you want to do. And sometimes that does mean removing friends, but oftentimes if someone's participating in something you don't want to do, doesn't mean that they're your friend. However, you can have a friend who does things you don't want to do. What you just don't want is people who are doing something that you don't want to participate anymore, that try and keep you there when they see that you're trying to change. But if you can both be like, this is just what I want with my life, and so be friends as a result of that and spend time or, engage in conversations in a friendly way when, maybe you stop drinking, right? But you have a friend that drinks and he doesn't want to drink, but he doesn't judge you or anything anymore. And he doesn't want to push that on you or stop you from getting you to where you want to go. Then he's a friend. Right, but if you find someone who's drinking and you say you want to stop drinking and he takes that as a slight to his ego, that's probably someone that you want to, and he gets upset for you trying to do better with your life and thinks that means that you want to be better than him, then that's probably not someone you want in your life at all, and that's not a friend. So remove weak symbols. So this is things like alcohol, weed, substances, even corn, anything from your environment that basically makes it so that, or gets in the way of you hitting your goals, because everything in your environment occupies your attention, and anything in your attention should be in alignment with the vision for self that you have. And then distractions. So distraction, this is the age of distraction over the age of information, 100%. The technology nowadays is constantly seeking to hook your attention. So a meditation practice is a must. Developing your focus, your intention, and your willpower with your own mind is critical in the realm of not getting distracted. Now you can get ahead of this by installing ad removers on your phone, blocking certain media sites, avoiding the news. If you are watching the news when you first wake up, or you're scrolling on your phone when you first wake up, you're filling your mind with information that isn't good for you. Most of the information that is promoted on social media, on the news, are designed to hijack your emotions and some of the most primitive centers in your brain. And so if you are just, lost awash in the miasma of, the universe, you're going to get distracted. That's why you need a vision. Now, number 2 is going to be having a goal-oriented setup. So that is making your environment or living in an environment that is conducive to you hitting your goals. So and establishing habits in that environment that are conducive to you hitting your goals. So that is only buying healthy food, meal prepping, and getting rid of all the bad food or food that doesn't serve your goals from your studio, your apartment, your house, wherever you live. Get rid of all the bad food and only have good food. And then you always want to have clean gym clothes ready. So so you don't have an excuse to not go to the gym, so that you don't have a reason to not go out and be active. And then you want to keep your phone in another room when it's time to focus, when it's time to go to bed. One of the main reasons people have issues with their sleep now is just because they're on their phone too much and their brain is in hyper awake state. Then make your bedroom cold, dark, quiet, perfect for sleeping. Having a consistent gym that matches your goals. So a gym with a good environment, a gym with a good culture, positive people, and a gym that is close enough to your house that it's not inconvenient to go to. Now, you may have to make trade-offs because not everyone can find a gym like that, but make it on the way to work, or just make it a good gym that you like to go to that lets you hit your goals, that doesn't have lots of distractions. So I like a private gym where there's just people who are focused on working out, and there's not a lot of social cliques, and there's not people looking for attention and people just looking for other people to date. That's not really what you want when it comes to a goal-oriented environment. Now, other great tools would be having proper shoes, lighting, and equipment that really supports your growth. So I'll get that to the lighting thing in the next slide here, where I go into endocrine protection. So getting rid of the candles, aerosol sprays, and plugins. All have chemicals that mess with your hormones and are not good for your health. Then I would recommend getting an air filter and water filters. So an air filter, like a HEPA air filter, a shower filter, and a reverse osmosis drinking water filter are all highly useful tools with a high ROI that you just have to buy once and implement regularly to see lots of returns. And then installing light filters on your screens. So this is removing blue light from your screens. Light, like anything, has to work in synergy. And the problem with light nowadays is that we get too much blue light from screens. The sunlight has the full spectrum of light in it, even wavelengths of light outside of the visible spectrum of light, which all play a role in the health of our body and our cells. And if we're just giving it blue light, it's not a good thing. There are things that go wrong when you give yourself blue light without other light nutrients. So install a blue light filter on your screen. Now, why warmer wavelengths of light? Well, why is that okay even though you don't have blue light and synergy? Well, blue light is more induces more cortisol. It stresses you out and is honestly responsible for more health issues than people realize in our modern day times. So, however, orange light, or like warmer light, it kind of indicates to our body that it's time to relax. It's not the fight or flight light. And so there isn't really as much of an issue with overdoing orange light. It's just like watching too many sunsets almost. But staring right at like an LED will have bad health effects. That's another thing. Like switch to incandescents or warmer light sources. And then you want to wear natural fabrics. So this is things like cotton, wool, linen, polyester, and other synthetic fabrics hold on to certain chemicals which will suppress your testosterone. Now, a great way around this is just to buy cotton, wool, and linen and wash them with more natural detergents. If you want to use, I use beef tallow, and I use beef tallow for hand soaps and body soaps, and then I'll find like other things like essential oil soaps. And then for my laundry, right now I'm using like a nice lavender soap without a lot of harsh chemicals in it that is actually working really, really well. And of course, keep plants in your home. Now, being around nature has been shown to basically de-stress people, right? It's a large part of why natural parks were installed in cities. You ever notice how when you go to any city, no matter how urban it is, no matter how big it is, there's always some park there with tons of trees, and it's super out of place. It's because people started to experience massive depressive symptoms, lots of anxiety, and experience more like mental disorders. I believe was it the 70s in New York, because people were disconnected from nature. So they installed a park like Grand Central Park so that people could be around nature again, and a lot of the mental health issues that they had decreased. We are meant to be around plants. Their nervous systems actually play a role in calming ours, and they're critical for regulating our nervous systems and our mental health. So I have snake plants in my bathroom. I even have like crystals and other things around me because it plays a, especially plants play a big role in you being healthy. Make sure every piece of your environment pulls you towards becoming the high testosterone man, the best man you want to be, every single day. Now, the final word here: high testosterone life doesn't happen by accident. This is something that you create, you consciously create with intention every single day, consistently for years. You have to realize that right now you're the amalgamation of years of bad habits, and the only way to undo it is to create years of good habits, which is just consistent action. In the moment, every time you are tempted to, fall down another path, choose the life that you want to create, and always remember what that is, why you want it, and what you don't want. Mindset, lifestyle, environment, that's really the trinity. When you live this way, your body rewards you with more energy, more drive, more muscle, more attraction, and more success. This is what I mean. This is what it really means to be a man firing on all cylinders. Yet, you will never, sorry, I don't want to say you'll never. This is a door to a really, really good life, an amazing life. And really, you just need to switch around your habits from the ones that don't serve you to the ones that do serve you. Fix your mindset so that it's actually better for your long-term growth and progress, and make your environment healthier. That's really all it comes down to. And no matter who you are or where you're at, remember to work hard, to never give up, and always keep the vision for yourself and your ideals in mind so that you can become the best man that you want to be, the high testosterone man that you want to be. Now, if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you want to DM me, you can DM me on TikTok or Instagram. But of course, if you would like to apply for coaching, there is a link down below. You can book a call, and I'll ask you a few questions on a call and see if you're a good fit for me. I really don't want to take on everyone. I've had people apply who I really had to politely decline because they were not a good fit for me. If you're not kind, you're not respectful, and you're not willing to work hard and implement, then it just won't be a good fit, because I actually want to get people results, and I'm not going to say things just to get money. But you have to be a certain type of person who can put in work in order to work with me, because I really value my time. And I say this because I just had someone who asked for an application for coaching on TikTok. What was that? A month and a half ago, and he said the link didn't work, and I saw it, but I just never applied because I had a bunch of messages, and I didn't know he wanted me to like resend the link, but I think he had some issue like opening it because his phone said it was like what wouldn't open, and then he didn't say anything, but a month and a half later he starts cussing me out, and I was like, what? Well, I mean, I could have helped you, but why would I want to work with someone who cussed me out? Like, he still wanted to work with me after he cussed me out, and he was like, oh man, like, you that much of a, sorry. And so, of course, I was like, why would I want to work with someone who has just demonstrated that if there is a problem, you will resort to slander instead of problem solving or communication? That's not really functional, and really doesn't set the tone for a good relationship. So I said I will not be working with him. And I'm saying this because I want to help everybody, but if you come to me and ask for help and then you slander me, I will be much less inclined to help you, if that makes sense. So, but no matter what, always focus on improving. That doesn't mean that you can't get better if you make a mistake. Work hard, do your best, and of course, subscribe. I'll be making more videos soon. Have a good day.